comrades, it's Premier River, and we are back again, this time looking out across our farm fields. And we have built a new distribution center, a big one, because we're going to try a little bit of an experiment. I would like today's episode to be nice and relaxing for us. Here, let's get this HUD back on and take a look at what I've done. So I went ahead and I took all of our trucks that were going to, well, some were going to both silos. So right now these silos eventually should be running out of food, though it doesn't seem like it's happening too quickly. These warehouses and the connections seem to do it in chunks, right? So it's like it'll let this get down a certain amount right here, and then it'll like bring a whole bunch over, I've noticed. So at this point I'm not exactly sure why this one's not bringing at least a little bit in here. But yeah, I really just wish they would make these, like, see how you have arrows on there? Wouldn't it be nice if you could click on this thing, or maybe there would be a little connection here and say push goods or pull goods, so that you could always just make sure this was full. Because like in this case, this is the perfect example. It's just a little annoyance in most cases, but it does actually cause you to have to build a whole new conveyor when it comes to this, the aggregate unloading and the steel mills and whatnot. I'll show you where it's. This is probably the biggest, not the steel mills. This, in other words, if you want this to be full of gravel, right? In this scenario right here, you have to have a pumping station. So in the past, I don't know. You would think that, like, I know there's only one thing here, so there's two reasons I have this pumping station. One is to split it, but also, if you have a large aggregate, you think, oh, I want to put the one connector right into here, put the other connector into there. Nope, can't do that. But it doesn't, I mean, this is a pumping thing. Like, how else does it get on the conveyor? So it doesn't really make any sense that you couldn't just pump, or that it wouldn't just steady pump straight in here. There's something smarter about this than there is about this as far as supply goes, which I guess makes sense, but what are you going to do? So that's the kind of thing I wish they had worked on in the update. But let's see. I've been very disparaging about these distribution centers, but you can see I want to find good uses for them, and I think they're really going to have their place. This is not the solution to all your distribution needs. It makes a few things a little bit nicer, and again, I'll maintain that it's because they're covering up other poorly designed things. Now, maybe they have those things. Maybe it's not poor design. Maybe it's just something that they think it's the way it should be. Like, it should drop off 10% of the total capacity, not 10% of what they actually have in there. Maybe they think that's a good idea and makes distribution harder, so that it's more of a challenge in the game, so that you have to build distribution offices. Does that make sense? But so far with like what we have here in this distribution office, even without power supply, I have to say that it's working pretty well now that I have food and understand that food was my issue over in this one. So it's, and it still is, right? I have food, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure it's sending out trucks like it should to get that going. Now, another thing to say here is, the other day I had too many tons of clothes in here, and I did fix that in the last episode. But also, I'm wondering, do I have way too many tons of food in here as well? Like, do we really need 110 tons of food? And then I think, well, I'm really not trying to export food for money. Like clothing, I'm trying to export that for money. As a matter of fact, that's pretty much our biggest source of income at this moment. But, so really having extra food around is not going to hurt me. We don't need that much food at this. But there, as we stop exporting certain things that aren't really worth it, it is, it doesn't hurt you to build up an excess of those things. So yeah, as far as food goes, I don't intend to import much food if we can stay on top of this. Now, the other question I have over here is this enough trucks to keep everybody in food? And you can see at this moment, without going around and checking for sure, I don't know why this seems to happen too. I don't know why. Is it because something I did? Or do you think I should maybe just send this guy out of there? Like, somehow he ended up with 2.8 tons of clothes. I should keep an eye on this. I don't know if he's been in there for hours. Like, did they refuse to send him out because he's got clothes in there? Or is he waiting for the next load that needs clothes? And that could have happened because I was turning down the amount of clothes, right? Yeah, as a matter of fact, let's just go let's just go set him over to here. Right? And as a matter of fact, we can just set this guy over to here. Because these guys aren't even moving yet. And just so you know, these guys aren't moving because this. Right? 684 tons of crop. No, wait. They have 85%. So now the question is, are they not moving or is... By the way, here's what they're doing. I don't know, did I explain this? They're going right to these fields. See? Oh, wait. Yeah. Yeah, the grain silo. So this is a field. Big field 10. There's big field 10, just by chance. Now, is that percentage full? Like, will they actually send a truck out to go directly to the field? If not, we'll send them to the silo. But here's then my complaint about, like, in other words, what I'm trying to do is I have pretty much, I think, all of these fields selected so that the truck would just go to the field directly and pick up the stuff. It doesn't... Oh, wait. All right, unload 100%. No. What are you doing? Farm distribution office. Where? I don't understand what you're doing. Oh, you have crops in you. Oh, you have some crops. Where are these guys getting all these? Or are they just going to empty themselves out? Like, I didn't actually have to go tell this guy to empty out. He would have on his own? Is that what's... Now look at that. He's going right to Big Field 3. Nice. Haha, guys, this is... All right, I now officially have a big double plus, if that's a thing. The Rever double plus, because I've been given check minuses, right? This is the Rever check plus twice. So two, this is going to help a lot kind of things. Now, the question is, will this be enough trucks to handle the job if we come into here, right? Because now what we should be able to do, right, is take all of these trucks. Yeah, let's just make sure this guy works 100% first. And we're just going to do this with the one. We'll take all these trucks off of here and just see what happens over the course of our nice relaxing episode here. All right. But yeah, no, I mean, there's no reason he won't go gather that stuff. And he's getting 100% load. And I did set the field on 10%. Yeah, so I'm not gonna follow him the whole way, but yeah, look, he's gonna spin in right behind that truck. Now, does he cause a traffic jam there? No. Just in case. I think there is a way you can cause a bit of a traffic jam, but that was with another way. Yeah, this I do. This will increase the production of our farm. Not that we really need that, but that does actually tell me that there is no doubt now that even if this was the only purpose for these distribution offices, this is a good one. Right, there he goes. He's got 10 tons of crops, and he's going to the grain silo. And again, and here's the reason I say that too, by the way. I mean, because you guys know I've been poo-pooing on the whole thing. Yeah, let me try to catch these vehicles when they don't have stuff in them. Is because it's not doing anything we couldn't do before, right? There was nothing that I couldn't do with the distribution office that I couldn't do before. Does that make sense? That makes it not game-changing. Sure, it makes it, it's like a convenience thing. It's almost like having a mod that makes things easier at that point or something, right? Oh, look, we're missing a truck. We should probably get another one in there. Right, like you. Oh, you're the one with the clothes. Look, all those trucks are gone. So in other words, like, there's nothing you couldn't do. This is something you can't do without, well, you mean you could do it, but it's just extremely inefficient because the only way to do it is have a truck driving back and forth, and even then, because you can't just sit a truck in here because it blocks the harvester from getting started. So you have to have a truck just driving back and forth between the farm, which is like hugely fuel inefficient. But now that we can use the distribution centers, that's not so much of a worry, right? Let's get this guy to go export so we can get him in the loop. So this is something that I couldn't do before. Not necessarily just do easier, because I will admit to you guys that in some cases this distribution will be easier, even if it's not better. And we are doing another thing to think about with all of... Part of my reason for the negative about the distribution center is trucks aren't the best way to distribute things. That's why we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a massive railroad track system that goes over to the border, and we'll be able to supply people. Look, it goes right past where our food and whatnot is, and it'll be able to supply food down to here at least. We've got a massively expensive bridge project to build for supply for all the way over to here, right? You see what I mean? Like, that's the way you distribute your food. Screw that distribution center. That's just, you know, child stuff. And then the thing that gets me about this thing is that it's then not the best or most efficient way necessarily to even supply your stores, right? So anyway, all right. So this is cool though. This is wonderful. Like I said, I take back the negative-ish rating I had towards the, which, well, I don't know if it was a negative-ish rating, just not as high as some other people think about the distribution offices. Like I wouldn't say it's below average. I think it's a nice addition to the game. Now I think it's even nicer. Now that we can do this with the farms. All right, I'm not paying enough attention, am I? All right, you need to go up to there and unload anything, and then you need to have another place to go, don't you? Why don't you come to here and do nothing? Right, so you're going to go up there, unload, and then come back and do nothing. Start, and hopefully I won't close that screen. Now, another big question. Yeah, let's close that. Distribution office. That's, I don't know why that's open. Yeah, let's get these guys when they're empty. Then we're going to send them. Will they all fit in here? Yes, as a matter of fact, they will. So we shouldn't need this many trucks, though. Yeah. So, oh, you know what? This is going to be a problem. Well, let's see what happens. See how smart the system is if we just send them over to here. It's going to be a test of their, do they waste crops or not? All right, so how are we doing? Yeah, so right now we're not keeping up with this, which sort of makes sense because we had trucks that were just going right to a tank here and then back, right? So at some point we probably should start draining this tank out. Because we really don't need it anymore, right? Like we've taken all the trucks out of here, out of our agro farm. What are you doing? Okay, you're the one I need to leave open. Hopefully I won't forget and close you. You are dropping down, but we just put 4 more trucks on the job. And then the next question I'd have is, does this distribution, let's just see if it works for the one, which means we're not getting anything out of this farm, which is a little bit of a problem, right? Because this farm is just going to be full and the truck's just not doing anything. Now, could try to put that in. I'm just kind of curious. Let's see. This could be a nice, relaxing episode, like I said. And then I do need to go around and check our construction-y things. Make sure we're still constructing. I did right before the episode, so. All right, so that guy just went right out on a job, and he's just going right over to the silo to unload. So good. It's good to know that you can send them over there, because that is something that's a problem sometimes when you change work locations, that they'll just lose. I know with the construction offices, you might lose the asphalt that they have in there. They're not smart enough to go, and it makes sense, like, or whatever they have in them. A lot of times it might be gravel trucks that I switch back and forth. But the gravel truck won't go over here and unload anything. As far as I know, I've never really, I mean, I know that it will lose it at times. Is that because my gravel thing was full? And so it just dumped it in the backyard. I don't know. All right, let's see how this goes. We'll have to keep an eye on, you know, do we get enough? Like it looks like we're being sent out pretty close to right away. I'd love to at some point see a truck sitting here. Now we don't have the biggest trucks, right? So that's sort of an issue. And then the other problem we have is this. Yeah, we don't really want to shut down this farm completely, do we? Now what are you doing? You're just going back and forth. Look at that. I didn't realize how inefficient this game could be at times. Look at that. There's no reason for him to go be loading anything. Oh, no, wait, is there? Because the farm is not full. Well, maybe, but... I mean, this guy just left there. There's no way... There's no way all of these would be full, and this just filled up a minute ago. Does that make sense? So, in other words, these guys are just driving back and forth endlessly. Because I didn't realize that's like an extra bonus of negativity. I figured they would just wait at the farm until they could get unloaded and go out again. But no, they're driving back and forth, which says... Well, is this not going to work? I don't see... Why would I not take these off of here? I think I will. Right? And then let's see... I think that filled that guy up, right? Okay, so you... Well, you know what? Let's... Another experiment. Before we start taking too much off there. That's guy going up to the dispatch. To the... Right, we have... Well, let's just go around again and see. Can we assign this guy? Is there a limit? Right, let's make sure he has all of them for this farm, right? And you can tell because it's red, which is nice. All right, red, red, red. Yeah, see, I didn't do any. Let's start with the ones over here. Cannot assign more buildings. Well, let's see how it goes, right? Because we did get half of them on here, right? Which would point to the fact that we only need 2 trucks on this farm, right? And let's just see how it goes, which would be give us the ability to maybe put in another farm vehicle or 2 if this actually starts working out. Right, now the question is, look, we got it back up to 77% full. And this one's 87. And you wouldn't expect it to be 100% because, right, and what I really want to see is like, man, why do these, oh, that's the one I just reassigned to it. Now, one of the things that I would say would be nice too is it would be nice if it would tell you a list of the possible assignments for the building. Not possible, but a list of the, like, waiting. Like right now, this is totally full. All the trucks are out and about doing their thing. Like, in other words, is there an assignment that this thing would do if it was capable of doing an assignment? Like, in other words, is there a reason this truck is sitting here that has nothing to do with the assignments that it could find? And let's just go around and check things. So this is where it's pulling from. And that's just a matter of keeping enough people here with food. And I've just been trying to balance that. I think we're doing okay. Every time I look, we don't have food. Let's see. Alcohol. Oop, that's a bit of a concern that we would be overproducing that. Now, the other thing to say there is, let's see, do we have this going? Yeah, so we're building these from now on. So we're going to supply with this house over to here. And then from there, we're going to pull stuff from there to there. Now, I did get a comment about the size of the trucks. Bigger trucks are always more efficient. The only question is it worth the extra money to pay for the bigger truck to sit here all the time? Right? So you could say, well, no, why don't you just get a smaller truck that carries less food or clothing over to here? And I would say, well, every trip back and forth, the bigger truck's going to be more efficient. Now, when you're going this close, I think you would be hard-pressed to pay off the difference in the cost, which can be not as much as you think. I know I said that maybe backwards, but let's just go look at the covered halls, right? And to me, a lot of these trucks are like massively expensive. Like, look, this is 31,000 for the 8-ton food carrying truck. Like, if you want to get one that's only carries 5.5, it's 26,000. Or let's say the other day I think I did buy a few of these skids, right? Like, which carry like half the food. Well, they're not half the price. They're 19,000. And again, if you want to go look at my episode in the testing and learning whatever playlist that I have. You know, this truck is going to use 1.18 kilowatts of fuel. I know that doesn't make sense to people that are going to be overly anal retentive about my statement there, but power equals fuel. That's where the power of an engine comes from. So let's call it 120, right? Because it's a little easier number to deal with. Divided by 3.5 or 3. Yeah. So in other words, when you're going to use that much fuel, it's a direct proportion in the game coding, even if it's not 100% true in your mind in real life. And this uses 154 to carry 8 tons. In other words, this is going to be more efficient because it's using less fuel. And then on top of that, it doesn't matter their speed that they're traveling. This guy is going to use the same amount of fuel no matter which speed he's going, but he can only go 62 kilometers an hour. This guy can go 95, so he's not only going to be, it's like they use the fuel per time. So the faster you get down the road, the less fuel they use. Does that make sense? So this guy, fuel efficiency wise, is actually more fuel efficient than the smaller one is, just based on the speed alone. Now, the speed, is not going to be a huge issue when you're this close. And I don't want to keep explaining this, but it keeps coming up and people don't believe me. Go watch the video. I have a whole video where I studied the efficiency of this guy is like going to be like 1/3 as efficient as this guy is. Did I just buy that? That's fine. We could probably use an extra one. But so it's going to be like 1/3 as efficient as that other one is. So if you start getting into a situation where your store is a little bit further away, think about it. Every time you go back and forth, you're going to be using less fuel, also to save 10,000 rubles in the purchase cost, or whatever it is. Obviously, there's inflation and such, right? So in other words, like in no case are you better off buying smaller vehicles unless you just want to play like what I would call more realistically. Just so you know, I mean, a good friend of mine is in the trucking business, and I do have someone else who watches all the time in the trucking business, Steve, and he can vouch for this. I mean, the reason you don't bring tractor trailers into the city is because tractor trailers don't fit into the city. So for local deliveries and whatnot, yeah, in real life you actually use less fuel, but that's not even totally true. If you use less fuel on a small truck, why wouldn't they have small trucks going between big cities? Because you use more fuel. Now, the acceleration is an issue, but I've never seen in this game where acceleration really, it's not like the game is modeled that accurately with the fuel consumption and all that, like where it's really going to make that much difference. Like they just spend so much of their time at 100% speed. So, and generally, yeah, okay, fine. If you're going to use a little truck on a little distance, but like this distance here, like we're going to have food coming into here, and then we're going to have trucks driving to these buildings. Definitely would, over a series of years, I think you're going to be better off with the trucks just sitting here being the big trucks, right? Like, but there you go. Say, look, I did put in a little truck, but I would say I did that more for like realism's sake, right? Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that's all fine and well. Like I've set it up before, like let's say Eggingham's probably a better example over here. Where is Eggingham? So I've set it up before where it's like, oh yeah, look, that's perfect. We'll use a little truck in here. What are we doing here with the bus? Oh, get out of the way, guys. Yeah. Why don't you go get more food for a second while he comes in there? They're probably can't work on that. But I do wish you would just go around the other way in that particular case. How are we getting it done otherwise? I don't know. Hopefully that's the last bus that needs to go in there. I'm glad I caught that. But anyway, you get this all set up and it's all perfect, and you increase the number of houses, which I do intend to do at some point over here. You know, and then like next thing you know, you have like not enough food because you only have a little truck. And then now you're really behind because not only were you less efficient the whole time, but now you've got to go and buy a more efficient truck at that point, or a bigger truck, which is more efficient, and set it over here. So what I'll tend to do, by the way, is rather than sell these trucks, what we can do is wait till one of them's like sitting here. That's great. I'm really glad to see that sitting here. Send that guy over to here, right? And then we can send this new truck that we accidentally bought to actually go do some work, right? And then that little truck can become a truck of, what do you call it? Like just for the sitting by the stores, and then you don't waste the money. It's almost like recycling these trucks that are less efficient than the blue trucks, right? Somebody did tell me, is it Kamaz is the right? And then what's this? Oh, come on. Yeah, I shouldn't say anything unless I had it in front of me. Skoda? I don't know, something like that. All right, anyway, so the trucks do have names, which I don't think you guys doubted. All right, so what are we doing? We are going to go look at this truck. I have a feeling yeah. And then you can go sit back in here. Now, you're a Kamaz, right? Yeah, probably want to do the same thing again. All right, we'll send this guy over to here. Now, why are you... Oh, because we're at 800. Oh, that's good. That's fine. Yeah, so they're not... It's not because there aren't crops on the field. It's because we're keeping this full. And I think we're doing it more efficiently, right? And the reason I say that is, one, our trucks aren't driving back and forth constantly here, stupidly. And, which is, yeah, that's another issue. I guess we should take care of that, right? But we're sort of running out of time in the episode. It's been a half hour since I looked at my constructions. So this is going to be a little bit of a mess. We may come back and straighten it out, but you guys get the idea. Like, what I need to do is I think at least take one of these guys off of here, right? And we'll send him... Now, you know what? We have these two extra trucks. I don't really want to use these trucks for this, but... All right, let's... Yeah, we really don't need the crops. But I don't want these guys driving back pointlessly either. So let's send one of them over to here, right? And then what we can do... Yeah, this is what we'll do. It's not going to be perfect, but at least something may happen. All right, why don't we... This is where we'll probably use more. This is backwards. All right, load, wait. I think we can afford to have one truck sitting here waiting. Wheat, yeah, corn, whatever it is, crops. Yeah, so why don't you start? So we've taken another truck off of this farm. There's really no point to everything I just did because we already have tons of crops. But let's go check out our constructions real quick. And yeah, so this guy's working on the Eggenham Road Cargo Station, which is this. Right, and it's just forever waiting on concrete up here. But let's also get him doing the alcohol thing. All right, it'll take him a while to get that done. And that's the last. Well, we have this, which I don't know. I don't know. This is something that's working pretty well. This is the other thing I like about the new distribution office is that. Like, I think we're even going to build one down here to push stuff out of here. Right? So, in other words, instead of having many different ones, like this one's pooling, right? Stuff. Because it's saying, okay, go up there and get this, let's unload, but get the stuff that you need and bring it back to the different things over here. Yeah, well, I guess it's going to be... I don't know that there's a problem with the combination, to be honest. Yeah, see, this guy's saying go out and get the stuff, and it seems to be working okay. I mean, you know, I did up the percentage that I had over here, so hopefully that'll go up. Like these are the dumpers, but we haven't been using that much gravel, and when we have, it's keeping it full. Yeah, so, okay, this is... Yeah, see, they're just working on this. Now we can probably assign, now that they got that on the way, yeah, we'll get those all assigned, so that'll give them, that'll let them pump the gravel right into there. So there, that'll be our asphalt and our concrete plant, and that'll be good to get going. And then, yeah, probably after that, we'd build these things. Our people, how are they doing? Not so happy. Yeah, well, I cut off the culture thing, because the culture thing needs a fair amount of concrete. And I thought, well, let's get this concrete going first, because it needs less. Like right now, they'll get this done, and then we'll be able to do concrete from here. Same thing here. Like in other words, in the long run, we're faster to get this done, even though they're not too happy about not having culture. Now, by the way, I don't know if anyone's escaping because of this, but I don't think they would, right? Like, this is on the borderline, like 70% or so is like the number. But and I do wish they actually gave us numbers a little bit, but, you know, could we exactly see the line? Now, you can see the numbers a little bit better if we were to come to, like, the overall happiness. But the problem there is that, you know, it's not for just this building, right? Like, in other words, we don't really see how happy they are, like the numbers in this building. But in any event, yeah, they're should be not escaping. I forget. Well, no, you know what? They probably are, because we have less productive age workers. I don't know. In any event, we will get to work on this as soon as we get this gravel done, and then we'll start probably one of these next episodes. We'll start designing our oil thing a little bit more. We got to get all that built, which will not be cheap. Right. So it's going well. Like, again, a little bit slow, but we're gonna this will mean, in my opinion, when we get these two things, we're going to have a proper construction setup. We're going to have people, and it just takes a long time to push that much further forward. With that in mind, we should, you know, right after we get this going, we should definitely consider where we might build another town, because, you know, it just takes us a long time to get that built. Some people have had suggestions for what to do with Reverville here. And again, I haven't done anything like that because I'm still trying to get this set up, right? But when you think about it, you know, we could make Reverville nicer, but at the same time, like, we really don't have a proper construction over here, right? Like, there's no concrete making facility. We're counting on Reverville. So, yeah, speaking of Reverville, how are we doing? We should be working on that road. Yeah, look, we're 45% done our road here. Nice. Even though it doesn't look very 45% done, does it? Nah. But there's a little bit of actual progress. I guess it took them a long time to put the pylons in. It doesn't seem to be reflecting 45%, but whatever. I'm okay with that. Now this is something I want to take care of. Let's go over to here. Did we go the right direction? So I want to build till we can get... where is it? Over here. Yeah, see, it's just taking forever and a day for him to get up there. But so I set one of these trucks. I canceled them going further forward this way, and I have them working on getting into here so that I don't think we really should be buying any more rail construction things at this moment. They're rather expensive, and I just don't know that we need them. But let's see, another thing we can do. I just brought that up here so we could cancel it. I think we can work on this here. There we go, or at least get it assigned. And all of these roads, what are these? Yeah, I wish they would change that from everything being called a road. This should be that. Right? Yeah. What are you? Okay, so I got you. Yeah, no workers. You have a bus. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know why people couldn't just walk over there and work on it, but whatever. So we'll get another one of these going. And again, more for the future. And just so you know, when it comes to, let's take a look at our economy. We're about out of time. So if we take a look at, oh, by the way, look at that, December 79. In 1980, according to our rules, we're allowed to start exporting power. So maybe in the next episode. So let's take a look at this year. We have so far plus 46,000 with 9 million in exports, which is pretty much close to the end of the year, right? What did we do last year? 2.2. So we really didn't make any improvement, which makes sense because it has been a year of struggling with distribution and all different kind of stuff. But we made better money, but that probably means we didn't construct as much either. And then this year, yeah, we definitely, what did we spend so much more money on? Well, definitely importing things, which could be like more constructions. Right, imported vehicles. Probably about the same. Why the big, huge difference? 'Cause there's like 400. Well, we brought in 300 less here, and then we spent 400 more. Yeah. And I would bet you, let's just say, so this is importing. Yeah, we imported 366 food, and then last year was only 200, almost, where food, 66. So we 300,000 more in food, which is fine. A little bit of growing pains, And then the other thing I would think would have happened is the clothing. We kind of fouled up the clothing as well. So yeah, we did 2 million in clothing, and then this year, there you go. There's 300,000 of it. Probably the fuel probably got buggered up at some point. Though it looks pretty consistent down there. Now, I don't like the fact that we're exporting fuel and then buying it. That's not probably the best thing to be doing. So we'll go take a look at that, right? Like we're buying 277 for 113, and then Soviet bloc. And then we're exporting 202. So for 53. See what I mean? Like if you do the math on that, you'll see that it's better to just use it domestically if you're producing it yourself rather than exporting it, which is good because that's, the reason for this, right, is like why the buy and sell price are different. So, all right, guys. Well, I see a couple trucks sitting here, which is a wonderful thing. It means I think we're much more efficient in how we're doing this because of the distribution, because we could even talk about ramping up this, but we don't need to because we're keeping up fine, right? Our facilities have enough stuff with the trucks that we have. As a matter of fact, look, we're having a problem getting it in there fast enough. It's not even a problem of supplying enough or having enough made. So good. So there we go. Farm distribution center success. And I would say, yeah, the only other thing to maybe do and think about is like, how well do we keep up with this situation? And would you build? Do we really need the big construct thing, or could you just put a small one near each farm? Like, so this is, in other words, we have 12 possible trucks in here versus 5. So do you need the 12? So, because I don't know that you do. But we'll keep an eye on that. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.